If you want to see your name at the beginning of all of our videos, as well as see exclusive content here on the homestead, please feel free to join our Patreon. Memberships start off at just $1 a month. And as always, thank you for your support.
I am running late this morning. Is anyone surprised? No, late is just my norm. But if you want to take the dive into quails, it's absolutely a blast. They are a great addition to the homestead. Like, go for it. I love it. These guys produce more eggs than my chickens, and they're easier to manage. And also, they pay for themselves and the other animals in your homestead very quickly. So, just some things to keep in mind. With that being said, I have a couple of different things I feed. I feed my chicks a Game Bird starter from Purina, and then I feed my adults the Game Bird maintenance feed, again from Purina. I wet that down for about 5 to 10 minutes so it kind of turns into a soup so they don't spill it out. But you could ferment the food, so there's that. Also, my quail like little treats just like chickens do. So they like bananas, they like apples, and they like other little scrappy things that you can throw to them.
As someone who has also owned Californians and New Zealands and other commercial meat rabbits that are normally used in an industrial setting, I can completely understand the attitude problems. Because Californians and New Zealands are amazing meat producers. Most of the time they're amazing moms with great growouts, but their attitude is a bit lacking. So if you are looking for a meat rabbit that is about the same size, same body shape, same purpose, I have two suggestions. First off is silver foxes, if you can find them. They are amazingly sweet and well-tempered, and I actually have great success with them when it comes to grow-out rates. There's the mom of this litter in that corner hiding. Next suggestion is standard Rex. They're much easier to find than the silver foxes, and they're normally really sweet, and I love their fur, and they come in a lot of really great colors. So silver fox and Rex are my suggestion. I bred 2 of my mini Rex yesterday, and normally my mini Rex are very fertile, and they provide me lots of babies when I want them. But for the past few breeding cycles, these guys have been freeloaders. And it's so frustrating because if I continue to push off these breedings for too much longer, I won't have seniors for convention. I'll have juniors, which is fine. But with how my lines run, I will have juniors that make senior weight because they will be older juniors. Which you can argue isn't a big deal, except for it is convention. It is where everyone shows up. And a junior going to a senior class just doesn't do well normally. And that's just because even though they make weight, they aren't filled in as nice. So currently, I am waiting for every single mini Rex I own to give me babies. Sadie is due tomorrow. Lulu is due the next week. Daisy is due the week after that. Then Cyrex is due the week after that. And then Velma and Penguin are due after that. That is every single one of my mini Rex in the lineup. And I'm not panicking, you're panicking. I really wanted to bring seniors and juniors. But I wanted my juniors to be like about 4 months old. And right now I'm pushing for right at 5 months. Really close into that senior age at 6 months. Which again, I say, will put them in my senior weight category. So I'm just crying in my corner. Such pretty freeloaders. I have been getting a lot of questions about weaning recently. When is the best time to wean, and when is the best time to separate males from females? When it comes to weaning age, a lot of that is going to depend on how heavily you are breeding your does. In a commercial setting, there are some rabbitries where they will wean them as soon as 4 weeks old. The soonest I will wean my babies, unless there's something going on, is 8 weeks old. Now, if my doe is getting aggressive with her kits, I might put them in a different cage and attempt to nurse them once or twice a day. But if she's being very aggressive, I will wean off earlier. When it comes to separating out your babies away from mom, my normal rule is my bucks get weaned first at 8 weeks old. So I'll take all the bucks away and I'll put them into their own cage. And if I don't have plans on breeding the doe at any time, I might leave her with a doe or two just to chill. The only time I worry about taking away a doe from her doe babies is if she's expecting another litter, she is getting aggressive with her babies, or the babies are still nursing on her and she's not regaining condition. So again, your answer to how soon you should wean and separate, again, is going to depend a lot on your program. Is raising quail worth it? In my humble opinion, 100% it is worth it. And to be honest, this is the most profitable animal I have on my homestead. You see, when it comes to raising my quail, if we're just counting feed, water, all that good stuff, let's say for argument's sake, I go through 2 bags of 50-pound feed per month for the amount of quail I have. Those are $25 a piece, so let's say I pay $50 a month to feed my quail. I, on a baseline, sell my hatching eggs for $1 a piece, my newborn chicks for $3 a piece, my chicks that are a week old up to 6 weeks old for $8, and anything older than that for $15. With that being said, most of my sales come from day-old chicks. I barely put any money into feeding these day-old chicks. They will be gone before the week is over. I have a standard, relatively cheap incubator setup. It cost me about $150 to get the current model I am using. Right now, I am hatching about 100 chicks a month. That's about $300 in chicks that I am selling per month. And that is a very small setup, a very low production. I'm basically just producing enough to sell, to have eggs for my own family, and every once in a while have a nice quail dinner. The quail on the homestead are what pays for the rest of my animal feed. So 100%, I would say that quail are worth it. I have a few different nest boxes. Some are standard wood boxes. They work relatively well. I like using them for my mini racks. And they work really great size-wise. Sometimes I have things that are a little unconventional when it comes to nesting boxes. Right now this is being used as a weighing basket. But also this has worked really well for me as a nesting box as well. And then, of course, I've also used just like cardboard boxes. Those also work really well, as long as you keep in mind that they're more disposable than anything. But if you're using them from your Amazon shipping or anything else, it's really great to reuse because, well, it's free. And then litter pans from Walmart, they work really well with your 10+ pound rabbits. These litter boxes are like $5. And then also from Walmart, the little plastic totes that are like $1 or $2 work really well as well. I just put holes in the bottom and drill into them. That way they have a little more drainage. Either way, plastic totes are a really great resource to use as nesting boxes. You just need to see what dimension works best for the different breeds of rabbit you have. Comes to feeding our dogs a raw diet with rabbit, we do a 50-50 split. We do 50% kibble and 50% raw. If I am giving out mini breeds, each dog will get a 2 to 3 pound rabbit a day. Or if I'm using one of my fryers for my larger breed, they'll get half a rabbit a day. But also in their bowl, they get quail eggs or chicken eggs. They'll get a secondary meat such as beef or lamb or some kind of sardine or oily fish. And then they get some supplements and some oils, especially since Panda is getting to be older in age. We're really focused on his joint health. And they get some fruit and veg in there as well with some pumpkin. So you're looking, we have 4 dogs. So that's like the equivalent of 2 fryer rabbits a day. And again, that's with supplementation of other meats and kibble as well. I feel like I haven't shown Zeus off in a while, and I figured y'all like to see this pretty boy. Zeus is my blue silver fox buck, and he is absolutely stunning. He's also one of the blues I have on standby that I would love to take to show once the COD is approved. But until then, Mr. Man is chilling with me. I will say that we bred him to his very first doe, which is extremely exciting, so I'm hoping for some more blue babies in the barn soon. And we will see if Zeus will have many, many children like his namesake. But if he doesn't catch this first time, it's not a big deal. He's still extremely young. But look at this beautiful boy. He's just perfect. So I told you it was probably best to start off with Californians. And I wanted to explain my rationale a little bit. Because you want to focus on meat, out of the two breeds that you named, one being a Holland Lop and one being a Californian, the Californian is going to be your best option for meat in general. And when you're just starting out with a breeding pair or trio, ratios are super important. That and Californians are a little more distant when it comes to their personalities, so it is easier to eat them, in my opinion. And from what I've seen, Californian clubs are normally super tight and easy to talk to. So you should be able to find someone not only that can get you some nice breeding stock, but can help mentor you. And then in the next 6 months, year, or however long you decide after you get your Californians, if you really like it, you can definitely grab some Lops. I did it the opposite way. I had my minis first, and then I got my meat rabbits. And looking back in hindsight, when I got back into rabbits after the military, I probably just should have went straight for the meat animals. But the very first breed I was introduced to in 4-H was Mini Rex, so I'm a bit of a sucker for them. Hence why I have an entire row. And they are fun, they're just not very efficient when it comes to meat. I'm out in the barn doing some paperwork type stuff. We just removed 2 of Vanessa's kits for weaning. 2 more will be in there with her for the next few days. And I'm starting to get pictures of the litter to kind of see how they improve as time goes on. And I figured I'd show you some differences in the kits. And again, these guys are very young yet, and they're going to fill in better, but I still like for my notes to see how my lines improve with age. Here is the runt of the litter. I really like where her high point sits. It's nice over the hips. And I really like how she comes down to the table, but she is a little long in that shoulder. And then when we look at her rear photo here, she needs more filling in on that loin, but overall has the potential for some nice depth until we come down to the table itself. And as you can see, her hips come in and she looks like she's going to be pinched. And then this top view is kind of blech, but she's narrow in that shoulder from a top view as well. So the best thing I see out of this doe is going to be her high point. Next we have the largest out of the litter, which I have called Doggo. She has a decent high point, but not as good as the last rabbit. And I like where it's positioned, and it has better balance to the shoulder. But I think this rabbit is going to end up a little long overall. From a rear perspective, I like how much more round she is. Though again, we can use some more filling up in that loin area. And then also these guys still have some very ugly baby coats, but we should see some better coats coming in here in the next 4 weeks. And then this top view has a very nice perspective. She's very round from this top view, and I'm very excited for that. But those are just 2 out of the 4 babies, and some notes I have put into their files. And if y'all like this, I can do the other 2 as well. Basically, the only thing I'm doing here is just keeping track of how my kits from different pairings and litters grow. So the idea is that I can track the trends of my line sooner and cull things that aren't going to be beneficial sooner. So I could cull something at 12 weeks when it hits 5 pounds, compared to waiting till 16 weeks till we're 6-7 pounds just to see for type. Look who's back from his time at my friend's house. Moose Man is back to do some stuff. And he's just as gross as ever. And still a cuddlebug who wants to groom someone over breeding them. So he's gonna need to figure his nonsense out. But Moose is back. And again, we're still going with the theory that I don't have champagnes and they are an inactive breed in my barn. It doesn't count, I don't have them. So if anyone sees me in about 5 months with champagnes on the table at a show, no you don't. I had a breeder I made a promise to that I would try to breed Moose back to Cookie to see what they throw, since both of Cookie's parents looked like Moose here, and we don't know what in the hell throwback Cookie is. So this is just a fun little surprise. It's a fun little experiment. But even though my color is wrong, at least my type is on point. I can deal with my type being amazing. We'll figure out the coloring later.